I'm Shakara Maybone.
I'm Jack Williams.
And welcome to Really In, a podcast where we take a moment to reel in the best and worst film moments while keeping our commentary 100% real.
So grab that popcorn and let's reel it in.
Yes.
But before we do that, before we reel it in, we have our first guest here today.
Hi, I'm Reza.
Hey, Reza. Oh
Reza.
my gosh, welcome to Really In. So excited. Are you excited to be here?
Yes, very much so, especially because of what we're talking about today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we are talking about Planet of the Apes for the people at home listening. That's crazy. Yeah, and I sent out a message in our Slack channel sometime last week, and I was like, does anyone want to talk about Planet of the Apes? And Reza responded pretty quickly and was like, yeah.
I actually tried to hold myself back from responding too quickly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because... yeah, and she was like, I'm actually really into it. I was gonna. You actually said you were gonna talk to me about doing it if we didn't already. Yeah.
No, because my favorite type of movie are the ones where it kind of plays with the idea of civilization, what it means to be civilized, and that's what the Planet of the Apes entire movie series from its conception has always been about. And I went on a serious binge last summer of watching it all and then forcing my family to watch it all and then getting my grandpa to even tune in.
Those movies are so long. I remember growing up watching it with my granddad and I was tuned in but not really because how long it is, but I just literally watched some of them what was it this past weekend and I was like, sheesh, so long, but it's so worth it.
Right, no, because my first experience with the movie was it was always the one that was playing in the hotel room on those random channels, and I always got glimpses of it, and then I saw it on Hulu and I was like, you know what, maybe I should.
Wait, it's on Hulu?
It's so weird actually with that one because it's one of those series where
it was on Tubi.
Yeah. I thought the original would be on Tubi because Tubi is my savior.
On Hulu. Or at least it was over the summer.
Oh yeah.
Oh well.
Oh no, because when I watched it I had to rent it. But I think with the newer ones, the newer 3 or 4, I think it's one of those situations where different companies own the rights to each movie, despite them all being in the same franchise. And then it ended up I think one's on HBO Max, one's on Hulu, or 2 of them are on Hulu, and then another one's somewhere else. But I always find that super interesting. Those new movies are great. I grew up on. I won't say I grew up on it, but the first Rise of the Planet of the Apes was definitely one of those things that
Yeah, that's my brother's favorite. We used to just watch it over and over and over again.
And I watched it recently for...
That's the one with Tom Felton in it, right?
Yeah, Tom Felton and James Franco, which... But,
It's a shame. But anywho.
I had to watch it for an English class recently, which was totally... We had to watch it with... It was that in a movie called Babe, which if you've ever seen Babe...
Wait, after the pig?
Yeah.
Wait, that was one of my favorite childhood movies. Yeah, oh my gosh.
Which, they're kind of different movies, right?
It's
Babe
so
and Planet of the Apes, but yeah.
It's kind of a tad bit similar, though.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about, the class was on domestication, so we talked about it in reference to animals, people, the domestic space, in a household. It was a really interesting class. Professor Solano. One of my favorite MSU professors. She's awesome.
That sounds pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just watching the first, original Planet of the Apes, 1967. Who's the director again? It's right in my head.
Oh, yeah, I got my notes. Franklin J. Schaffner, I think is his name.
Yeah, and he basically, adapted from the book. Now, how do you feel about, book to film adaptations?
I'm a fan. I always
Reza looked like she actually.
Have you read the book, Reza?
I have not read the book. The original book is in French, which I'm not fluent enough to read it.
Okay.
But book to film, it's controversial.
Oh yeah.
Some definitely benefit a lot more than others. I feel like Planet of the Apes, especially with the first couple movies that came out, I struggled initially with. They look stupid. They look so stupid.
We're going to talk about the makeup artists and the designs and the costume designs. Oh, listen.
Well, I think and those first 2 ones, they just looked like hairy humans.
Right.
They weren't really, and I think it got to the point if you watch by the time you get to the 4th movie.
Can we have a reference picture or something?
I'm sure we could probably we could get that reference picture. But it was, I think by the 4th movie the budget had just dropped so exponentially.
No.
But it was just it wasn't apes anymore. It's like
It wasn't apes anymore.
the ape was lost by the fourth movie.
It was no
They
longer
were
their
apes,
planet.
but it was
Like, look at that.
exactly
No,
yeah.
it's just
Battle
like-
for the Planet of the Apes.
Especially with like what the movie or like the story is generally about. The
Yeah.
fact that they look so human like completely took you out of it. Like
Yeah.
you weren't as, captured by the idea like this used to be our, can I say that? This used to be our planet, but now it's not.
Yeah. Spoiler. I don't know if you haven't seen that. If you don't know about that spoiler,
Right,
where have you been?
But like with the newer movies, like obviously we have the benefit of CGI and stuff,
Yeah.
but like you kind of get that like horror or element almost at the
Yeah.
idea that like these things that we see as like creatures or like uncivilized or these wild animals are able to do the things that we do so well.
Yeah.
That uncanny valley almost.
Yeah, that is like a horror because just imagine, like, I would be scared.
Yeah, 100%. That's actually what we talked about in my class, or something I talked about, and I was really fascinated by, was this idea that it's fully playing on our fears of scientific advancement. We're not afraid of scientific advancement. We're afraid of the product of our scientific advancement coming back in that way. We don't like the thought that like we torture animals.
Right.
We don't like the thought of vivisection. We tend to ignore it. So it's basically saying, hey, there's this thing that you're so you just kind of like don't pay attention to. That's very real in society. Like, I mean, animal experimentation is still very
Right.
real, albeit to a lesser extent than maybe in the past. But it's saying like, hey, you can't hide from that anymore. You know,
Yeah, like it
and
confronts
that's scary.
that disconnect that we have as humans. Because I mean, logically speaking, we know that we're animals. We know that like
Yeah.
we share a lot in common with apes, but we have a lot of like almost mental barriers, so that way we don't equate ourselves with them.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
like
whole-
an emotional, well, sort of, kind of an emotional disconnect because I only said that because like the very first one, like the other original. I mean, you had what was her name? The professor. I forgot. I'm so
I should
sorry.
have pulled all these things up.
A
all the
lot of them
characters.
have the same names.
They do.
Okay, I knew I wasn't
so like
tripping.
that's fine.
Yeah, but you could just tell like she had
Dr.
an
Zero?
emotional.
Yeah,
I think so.
Zero,
Yeah,
yep.
she had an emotional connection with Taylor, one of the astronauts, and things like that. But
Yeah, the kiss, the kiss. At the end.
oh please, I was like, no. When I seen it, I was like, I don't remember watching that.
Because like she looks at the others before it happens.
Yes.
Her fiance, too,
Right.
or, like, her life partner.
And he was so jealous. He was like,
And then she's like, "You're ugly. Give me a smooch." Like what?
And then Nova too, who had like she was like a caveman basically.
yeah.
She was like,
what was? I just want to know, like, why though? Like, I get it because, they're supposed to be like the creatures that I guess doesn't know anything, and they just supposed to be like, it's like a reverse psychology type stuff, But I don't know, like, you was gonna say something before.
Oh, I was just gonna. I mean, yeah, like the humans are definitely like. The dynamic I think in the first one was very like it was very well laid out. It was like humans are just animals. You know, it's just completely flipping the roles.
Yeah.
And that's what I was so confused by when I'm gonna bring it up, guys. The 2001 movie by Tim Burton that is infamously just like. Whoa, they changed that completely because they're animals, but they can talk, and they're also sort of like treated like dogs. Like there's that one scene where the little girl is like in a cage.
Yeah,
and,
she was like, the ape. It was just like, oh, I'll see you tomorrow.
and it's like
she had a collar, and it was so crazy. I'm like, what?
I
What is
feel
going
like it
on?
was so out of line too with like some of the other things that like persisted amongst the Planet of the Apes series. Like in the most recent movie, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, you see Noah like looking at that book and see that they were like he can't imagine that, you know. So I hate that movie so much.
Wait,
What, the recent one?
No, the 2001 one.
Oh,
yeah. Let me
Why
clarify
did I
that.
like it?
What?
I mean, wait a minute. Hold on. I like it.
Okay, wait, okay.
Oh, yeah,
So, like, when
okay.
I went through my summer of, like, binging all of the movies, I got really into the lore. Like, I was on
no,
your,
the
like,
lore is
fandom
it's
with
great,
it.
especially in those first four, like the original
Right.
ones. It's crazy.
It was like
I
you
love
get into,
that.
like, the nuclear war fallout.
underground, like,
yeah. The
mutant
bunkers.
people, yeah.
Like, and then you have the 2001 film.
And it's like, what?
I mean, I feel like that's an example of a bad, like, book to movie adaptation.
it was a bad
yeah.
reboot. I would say it wasn't good.
Well,
enough to be
actually,
rebooted.
guys, it's a reimagining. It is not a reboot, which is weird.
Really?
Yeah, it's they were all very clearly like into the original movies, and I think for me, what was lost in the 2001 version. The first one is very political. It's very its politics are very well defined. There's multiple different approaches. You can analyze that film in a lot of different ways, like in relation to class, race, animals, blah blah
Religion.
blah. And by the time 2001, and that progresses throughout the movie because the budget gets smaller and they get more politically radicalized. Especially that fourth one. He's like the main character.
What is it, the Conquest of the Planet of the Apes?
Yeah, he's basically it's a Marxist revolution. Like it's really funny, like how it gets like more politically radicalized. That 2001 though, they just kind of lost all that. I felt
they did.
It was very muddled down. Like the message seemed just to be like,
which is interesting because it's 2001, so it's like on the brink of like some very,
it's a tumultuous, post Y2K,
you know. So you would think that like the political commentary would be more like on the pulse of everything, but no,
right.
it
just lost all of it.
Yeah.
And I think part of that was because the role the humans played was very different. It seemed like they didn't know what role they wanted it to play, or maybe they did, and it was just, I don't know.
Like,
it's
executed like really badly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I by no means do I think the 2001 one was like a bad movie.
I just think it's funny that it's set in 2029 and that's literally like 4 years away.
Was it?
Wait, no, because
I didn't see
Caesar's
that
the final movie that Caesar's in, that's in 2028.
Oh,
yeah.
We're talking about the recent ones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is crazy.
I think right now they're going through their pandemic. Like in their timeline.
Right. Yeah. The simian flu. Yeah, because there's like a 10-year gap between the first one and the second one, between Rise and Dawn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the politics, the evolution of politics, is very interesting. Even when you look at the newer franchise. And I was just watching this guy on YouTube who I don't watch video essays, guys. It's just like not my thing. But I like this one guy because he adds a lot of comedy to it. And he talked about how the first, it's Pointless Hub, by the way, that's the account. The first few movies had this like benefit of like being recognized as classics, and the newer ones have this benefit of being recognized as like really, really good, and like new and innovative and kind of like bringing it back.
But it's not
that 2001 one. Yeah, that 2001 one, it can't be recognized as a classic and not really part of this. So it kind of just got forgotten. That was what he was saying, and I kind of agree with that. I think it did kind of.
Yeah, because I never hear anyone talk about that one.
It wasn't until like I googled like Planet of the Apes movie watch order that I was like, oh, there was one released.
And it's like, it doesn't really fit into any of the other series. It's just like its own. And you could tell they kind of wanted it with that ending.
I feel so bad. Because like, they really tried. Like, the casting was immaculate in the 2001
Yeah, no. Like, Paul Giamatti as that.
Yes.
Like, that is probably one of his best roles, honestly, from what I've seen.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk about that ending.
You can go first. You had some thoughts.
So the ending, super weird, right? If you haven't seen it, I mean, I assume most people are familiar with the original 1968 ending. He finds out that he's actually on Earth the whole time. Very, very classic ending, This 2001 one, the planet he's on is different. It's not Earth, right? And at the end, he shoots off in a rocket, comes back to Earth, crash lands in front of the Lincoln Memorial. The big statue of Abraham Lincoln, and it's an ape. Specifically, the ape that was the main villain. What was his name? It was General Thade. General Thade. And he's like in shock, and then all these apes like that are like cops, journalists, they all pull up, and I guess the implication is that the world is now apes. And I looked a little bit into that because I was curious because we were just talking about the book.
Yeah.
That's how the book ends, kind of. It's more true to the book ending than the original movie is. The book ending, from what I've seen, they come back to Earth and there's an ape on Earth. And I think the implication there is that, and this is going to be kind of confusing, Mark Wahlberg travels back in time, back from the other planet onto Earth. Thade, after Mark Wahlberg leaves the planet, Thade finds his own ship, time travels before Mark Wahlberg, like to an earlier time, I guess this Civil War era, because Abraham Lincoln or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he conquers the planet.
He said, "Okay, I'm gonna get here before you."
Yeah,
get
so it's
here."
like playing a game of like who's gonna go back
Yes, we
further.
can.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the implication. And I think it was kind of clear they wanted to explore that in a sequel, and it just never happened because
Dang,
we kind of forgot about the movie.
that sucks.
What do you think about that?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. When I was watching the 2001 one, I tried really, really hard to focus, and
Yeah.
I was pretty much checked out. And it was like every so often I'd tune back in and
She
be
just
like,
don't vibe with it,
no,
guys.
I really do not. And then when that ending happened, my first thing was just like, I love history, and I'm a really big nerd when it comes to it.
Yeah.
How did that like feasibly happen? Like, did he? Like,
No, it's crazy. It's like, yeah, like, and then you get into like, is that how time travel works? Which, you know, it's sci-fi.
Right.
You can make it work however you want to
You know,
work.
so
But
But
it's
would
like-
you say it's like a plot
feasible in the
hole,
sense
sorta?
that like, okay, this ape comes on a ship in Civil War America, and it's like, what? Did they all just
it just Thade conquers the planet? Did Thade bring his friends?
right?
Was it,
Like,
did he enlist the apes that were alive then? Like, how,
what
how did that
Lincoln
all work?
think? Like, was he giving the Gettysburg Address, and he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, we have this going on."
Yeah, like,
Why-
oh, there's,
Is this
you
like
see
a
that,
sign
right?
from God? Like,
Why is everything else in Washington the exact same? Why
Right,
is the
right.
Washington Monument there? Because you see him, he crash lands, and it's still everything. And that's the same in the book, too. The Eiffel Tower looks the same. Everything looks the same. It's just when they crash land, they see apes instead of humans.
Right.
so like, okay, that's the thing with like in general, like whenever we have those like movies or films that are about this like other thing that takes over in place
Yeah.
of humans, is that like everything progresses just the same. It's just different people.
Yeah, which I always find hilarious.
Yeah, like I liked it in the newer films that when you see the apes like building their society,
It's different.
Yeah, like
They're in
don't-
trees, you know,
Yeah, like
it's
they don't
different.
have like the clothing that they were wearing in the
Yeah.
1968 film. Like you're an ape and you're ruling the world and you're still wearing jeans.
Yeah, I also like the sci-fi cloaks they had in
Yeah.
that 68 version. Those were awesome. But the ending of the 2001, you know, I saw what they were doing. They were trying to recreate sort of like they were trying to do the big twist again, but like in a kind of different way. But in the 68 one, it's like
makes
cool.
sense,
It's like
yeah.
the villain in the don't even get me started. I did not like Thade. I thought he was such a bad villain. The first one, he was such a complex character. The original villain, I forgot his name. It was actually I have it pulled up.
Isn't it start
Dr.
with this?
Zaius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was such a complex villain. He wins in the end. You don't see that happen in a lot of movies where like the villain just straight up
Tim Roth,
wins.
that's this guy name.
Yeah.
Okay.
He plays Thade, yeah, Tim
Yeah.
Roth. But yeah, like Dr. Zaius, such a complex character. You can empathize with him. There's a reason he doesn't want them going into like the Forbidden Zone. It's because, you know, humans destroyed the world. He doesn't want it to happen again.
Yeah.
He makes
Which is
Thade.
valid. We do
Thade is
research
just
stuff.
pissed that the human guy is taking the girl, the monkey, like, you know, it's like, which is
Come on
crazy. Like, and yeah, the sexual tension between Mark Wahlberg and the ape, the female ape,
Yeah. Okay,
oh,
but
so crazy.
they did that in the recent one too, with Noah and Nova.
Yeah.
Which, like, I remember, like, when the movie immediately came out, they were like, "Can I find him attractive?" And it's like, I don't know.
And I guess you can, because I did.
I did before this episode, like, I was just like seeing like what people had said about the most recent movie, and it's literally just like thirst edits of the guy.
That's what I love about the internet. Like,
But it's like of the guy like as a human in interviees, like just acting as an ape. Like,
oh my god,
just
yes.
making the noises, and
The
I'm like,
press
Oh, just
tour
like
yeah.
was so amazing. Just like, like. That's how it would go.
tempting.
That's how it would go. It would literally just be like they'd ask him a question and then they just go like full ape mode, which was genius. It sold me. I loved
Yeah,
it.
it was
yeah.
it was cool to see, but it's just like I don't want to watch that with like Lana Del Rey playing in the background. You know what I mean? Like ultra violence.
Speak for yourself.
Okay.
No, but yeah, that last one. I don't know. General thought you said you weren't or was that?
Huh?
Oh, for the
No, you were talking about the 2001 one.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Did we all? I don't know. What do we all think about the new series? The direction it's heading.
Love.
Love it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like, do you think that is repetitive though? Like,
Not exactly.
not exactly.
I think because they're doing something different. You know, they're showing like, no pun intended, the rise of the Planet of the Apes. You know, they're
Yeah.
showing instead of just like establishing it and then doing. And I like how by the time we're at the new movie, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, we're kind of where we were at in the 1968 movie,
Right.
kind of, you know, like
We're getting there.
yeah, we're getting there. So I'm curious to see where the franchise is headed.
I like the fact that in the newest movie, Kingdom, they were exploring certain like human ape relationships that like weren't really touched on when we saw like Caesar's rise to power.
Yeah.
I thought that was really nice, and also I loved the continuity, like seeing Caesar's window, like its shape being like a religious symbol,
yeah, it's,
you know?
yeah.
And this is also like
Caesar.
really nerdy of me, but my favorite thing about watching like the newest set of movies is watching the progression of language amongst the apes, because like
Yes.
obviously in the first movie Caesar we learn that he can speak, and then the second one we see him
A
like
little bit of
teaching,
sign language.
yeah, a little bit of sign
They got
language.
so much better.
And what I loved is that like of the surrounding cast, you could hear some grunts, and they almost sounded like English,
Yeah.
like they were getting there. And then you got to the third movie, it's like okay, grunt, sign language, and then like they did say a word, or they said like it's like
Caesar could talk a little,
you know?
Yeah.
And I loved that, and I liked the fact that in Kingdom, like also like kind of continued with like you seeing how the apes are learning languages.
Now they're fully talking.
Yeah.
They full blown right. Like
And then we talk,
So
I mean,
crazy.
we were talking about the twist too. The twist, and I think this just shows how the newer movies are just like so much better than that 2001 one. The twist at the end of Kingdom was great. The fact that there are still humans, because they
Right.
kind of lead us to believe that there aren't. And then was it May, right? Yeah, she like starts talking normally, and there's a funny scene where he like drops the.
yeah, he was like, no, she was like, I have a name. It's May, and then he
Yeah.
was like.
yeah, and I love that. I think it's and then they show like that was it like a bunker that she made it to.
Yeah.
Like that emulates the feeling of that first movie.
I actually felt betrayed. Like I felt like, oh my god, like how could you?
Exactly, and it's like, and it does kind of set up this interesting dynamic between Noah and May, where it's like they were, you could tell there's genuine connection between them.
Yeah.
But then she's also like, there's still a war, right? There's still like
Right.
this human ape war that's like very much surviving after 300 years. Yeah, and I love that. I love these movies.
I like, and also like the fact that you know you see like the same names being used repetitively. Like I love the continuity.
Yeah, like
and like the callbacks to the original
Nova,
film. Yeah.
right? Caesar. I think Caesar was the name in Conquest.
Yes.
The main character was named Caesar, which they both kind of have similar roles too. Which I mean, I think you can kind of see Rise of the Planet of the Apes drawing off that movie in particular with the whole idea of like an ape uprising in modern society, and then obviously him being named Caesar kind of plays direct homage to that. I thought that was awesome.
So what are y'all rankings to the best film in the franchise?
rankings.
Oh, okay. Wait, I need to pull.
Okay, well I already know what yours gonna be, Reza, but it's okay.
I love
Okay.
rankings.
Wait, let me pull them all up, and then
Yeah, let me
literally
get them
it's
all up.
not.
Yeah, so you got the first one, Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Escape from the Planet of the Apes. These are the originals, by the way. But
Okay.
Conquest, Battle, and then the reboot, quote unquote, Rise, Dawn, War, and then the latest, which is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
All right, yeah, let's hear it.
Dawn is definitely number one for me. Yes. Dawn is number
Dawn,
one.
classic.
And then I would go for like the original Planet of the Apes in 1968 as my second. And then probably War and then Rise, I think.
War and then Rise. Okay.
Yeah. And then the 2001 is definitely like way at the bottom.
Tyra will not stand for this claim.
I cannot. Like,
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes wasn't. It was probably like 6. Like it's not
Okay.
like up there, but it's
can
not
see
like
that,
the
yeah.
worst.
I feel like it's still growing on.
It might need to. Yeah, I think it might for a lot of people I've seen. I think
Yeah.
it might need more time to like sort of.
It's just like I miss Caesar.
Me
Like,
too.
that's my
I
main
literally
thing.
just said that. I was like, I miss Caesar.
I miss like I did not believe the ending
literally cried.
of War. Like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah. I had
it
the
wasn't
same
even
reaction.
dramatic. Like, I was just like, get up.
Get up, what is wrong with you? Like, yeah, definitely. I feel like a lot of people are fans of Dawn. A lot
Dawn.
more than
I think that's
War,
the best
but I like War better. That's just me.
Really?
That's just me.
But Blue Eyes. Like that's it was beautiful. Like
Yeah.
like watching that relationship unfold and then, you know, the catalyst of it all.
Yeah.
But again, Caesar's dead.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Yeah. I liked
yeah.
what was it, Bad Ape or Bad?
Yeah, bad.
Yeah, with the,
bad
with the,
yeah.
with the
He
little
was so
coverage.
cute.
I love him.
him.
He's my favorite character.
Him and Maurice
Yes, Maurice.
Yeah.
I love.
Maurice is my dude.
I like that Maurice like even also became somewhat of like a religious figure.
Yeah, like you can see and it was just with. Is he like an orangutan? Is that?
Yeah.
And like is the orangutans were like the. I don't know my apes guys. Sorry.
Is that a orangutan?
I don't know my apes guys.
Okay, what's your favorite? Like the regular like chimps, orangutans, or gorillas?
We're like dividing them into. Guys, I feel like that's what they're telling us not to do.
No. But
I
like,
hear you saying.
like the different roles that they play. The chimps were more of like I honestly, okay. You know, remember that one gorilla? I'm forgetting his name, but he like sacrificed.
Yeah. They
himself?
called them like mules.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like were serving the humans.
But there was one in particular in Rise. He's always been my favorite. Forgetting his name, but just know that I love him.
Was he the one in the initial, like when they initially get locked up, that is like in the habitat? Yeah.
And then like he like pushes, he like goes
Caesar like wins him over.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that scene where they all like break through the glass ceiling.
Oh yeah.
That is just because it's like metaphorical, right? Like, but it's literally like they all jump out of a glass ceiling.
I love the relationships. Like Koba. We didn't even talk about Koba. We didn't even talk about Koba.
Koba could be its own episode. Like that is such an amazing like.
I sympathize. Like obviously, I began to hate him when he was leading the whole uprising. Yeah. Obviously, and the fact that he killed one of Blue Eye's friends. I don't remember what his name was.
Yeah.
But his like story was heart-wrenching from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was so glad that they had a character like that, especially because I feel like when you are talking about like revolution or uprising, there's always this like, do you go for it like as peacefully as possible, or do you go violent from the beginning? And I like that they showed that.
Yeah. Wait, backtrack. Didn't he kill what was it, Ash?
Ash.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the name.
Yeah. No, Koba again is like. Kind of going with the first movie is another one of those characters where obviously is the antagonist, obviously is like flawed or whatever, but you can totally like get behind and be like no, I see that, like I get that, like and it's kind of the same as what was it, dude? Dr. Zaius. Yeah. It's the same thing as Zaius, where they're both kind of just like we're wronged so much by humans, and then the person they're fighting, the protagonist, is just someone who is able to forge like a better relationship with humans. So it was just all about perspective the entire time.
Really speaking to the camera there.
I've been trying to do that more. Just a great series. Definitely.
The CGI is
the motion capture.
Beautiful.
Yeah, lovely.
A1 now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you know the actors are like especially talented. Because have you seen that like one clip of Pirates of the Caribbean where it's like where like the tennis balls on the face? Like I could
wait. Don't jump me. But I never seen Pirates of the Caribbean before.
Whoa. That's an episode. That's an episode. We're doing that.
I was just never into it.
That series was like another one of like I was just like I need to binge. Like,
I did that with Terminator. I binged over the summer. I binged the entirety of the Terminator series, and I would love to talk about it someday. But
I mean, they only got 2.
Yeah.
They need to make another one, but it's fine. Cool. It's cool.
I would love another Kill Bill.
Yes, literally. It's not finished, but anywho.
Anywho. Yeah. I think that does it. Planet of the Apes, great film series. Can't wait to see more. Can't wait for more rewatches because I love rewatching movies.
Wait, the 2001, just to be clear, is not my first one. My first one is Dawn, but it gotta be like, but it gotta be like my top 4 maybe. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Yeah.
Top 4 is insane.
Top 4, yeah. No, top 4 is crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, there's like just too many better ones.
Right.
But it's like it's funny.
It's
like maybe
it's funny.
I see that movie as comedic relief. Like it's not serious. You really don't take that serious. You could just watch it and be like, ha ha, that's funny.
But you can do that with the originals, I feel like, too, because they're just so because they're dated. They look goofy.
Yeah, like the kiss scene.
Well, yeah.
The kiss is hilarious, and it's like the masks were so like.
The whole movie, like
you
just see them in the background. First of all, it was scenes where they have like bonds and like I just was like, what? I was so thrown off.
Yeah. You know what's been really I don't whatever, but you know what's been really great? Rewatching Madagascar and seeing the amount of Planet of the Apes references.
Oh,
yes,
really?
There are so many. They recreate the kiss scene. And they do the whole thing where at the end of the 1968 one where he's like banging at the same.
Oh, like the
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have to rewatch that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well,
put that on your Planet of the Apes watch.
I will add it to my to my little tree, my watch list.
Well, this has been one of our few. I'm sorry, cut that out. I'm restarting that. Yeah, this has been one of our introductions to our film franchise segment, where we just pick a franchise for the week or whatever, and we just like talk about it. So.
Yeah, I think it went well.
I think it went well too.
But before we wrap up here, I want to hear from you. I want to hear from our audience. I want to hear from our listeners. If there is a movie, actor, director, era of film that you want to talk about, let me know. Email me at jack.williams@statenews.com or Kyra
at shakira.maybone@statenews.com. Now, I know it's a lot, but just put SHAKYRA.MABONE@statenews.com and you'll find me. I'm there.
And just let us know. What movies do you want to talk about? If you disagree, if you think the 2001 Planet of the Apes was the biggest thing in cinema, let us know. We want to hear from you guys. And we'll do like a little segment. We'll talk about what you guys have to say. Even if you just like want to send in a movie that you like and we'll have us talk about it, we'll do like a 5-minute segment. We're
be like, actually, that was...
If you disagree, yeah. If
that
you
was
think,
trash.
If you think the 2001 Planet of the Apes is the best thing that's ever graced cinema,
I never said all
let
that.
me know.
And there you have it. This has been an episode of Brilliant in It Podcast, where we talk about the best and worst film moments. And yeah, have a good one.
Yeah.
Bye.